the interval of the storm. The sudden shift in the city's mood was palpable. Only an hour ago, the afternoon had been a harsh, sunlit arena of commerce and haste, the pavement radiating the stored heat of a relentlessly busy week. But now, a colossal, lead-colored mass had swallowed the sky, and with a preliminary, soft sigh, the rain began. My apartment window, normally a portal to noise, became a screen for something quieter, more demanding. The world outside, which the poem calls a muted hum, was settling into a deep, sustained acoustic phenomenon. It wasn't the violent clamor of a summer storm, but the dense, hypnotic, steady drumming, softly come, of a true downpour, a sound that didn't just add to the noise, but displaced it. It was a cleansing frequency, pushing the shrill insistence of traffic and the sharp chatter of street-level life into a muffled, secondary plane. I found myself drawn away from the glowing screen of my laptop, the digital world suddenly feeling thin and irrelevant against the visceral weight of the water. I stood at the window, my hands resting on the cool sill, observing the transformation. The trees, overburdened by the summer's dust and the pollution of the city's breath, were undergoing a ritualistic soaking. They were a weary, weeping crowd, their branches heavy, their leaves no longer reaching ambitiously for the sun but bowed and accepting. Each surface, from the granite of the neighboring building to the delicate veins of a rose bush below, was now intensely saturated, slicked with a sheen that caught the diminished light. The rain fell in silver threads, countless, fine, and inexorable, weaving a tapestry of motion that mesmerized the eye. The very air was being washed, scrubbed clean of tension and hurry. The visual clarity of the city was dissolving. The streetlights, prematurely lit against the twilight-darkened sky, were no longer sharp, functional beacons. They were a gentle gleam, their glow fractured and diffused into soft, radiating halos. Looking down the street, the world was impressionistic, the strict, urgent lines of architecture blurring into watercolor smears. It was a moment of beautiful, natural chaos, where clarity gave way to atmosphere. The glass itself, my immediate barrier and lens, became an active participant. Tiny rivulets, tiny rivers softly thread, formed and snaked down the pane, each one a fleeting, miniature current driven by gravity, carving temporary paths through the condensation. This was the rain's powerful, wordless rhythm calls, a quiet plea. It wasn't demanding action or thought, it demanded presence. It was an invitation to simply be, and watch, and see. I felt the knot of obligations that had tightened in my chest all morning loosen its grip. The pressure to generate, to respond, to progress, suddenly seemed ridiculous and temporary. The reality of the moment was the relentless, peaceful constancy of the water. I moved away from the window, drawn by a deeper sensory experience. The air, now cold and heavy with moisture, pushed into the room every time a door was opened downstairs. It was fresh, a cool embrace, a physical sensation that penetrated the artificial warmth of the indoors. More profound, however, was the smell. It was the deep, resonant perfume of the earth, petrichor, that unique scent produced when rainwater meets dry soil. It was the essence of fundamental nature, so deeply roused, from soil beneath where secrets housed. It was a reminder of the timeless cycles beneath the pavement, of the life and death, growth and decay that continues beneath the frantic, surface-level existence of humankind. That scent anchored me, a tether to something enduring. In this sudden, pervasive quietude, the world's priorities were reversed. The noise of a distant car, a fleeting sound, became significant, a brief counterpoint to the dominant drum of the rain. The growing shimmer of collected water on the pavement, the gathering of puddles gather on the ground, was a small visual event. These were not distractions, they were anchors, points of contrast that emphasized the sheer, enveloping dominance of the storm. The world slows down, a hushed affair, a silent whisper in the air. This was the core of the experience. The rain was performing a public service by demanding a collective pause. It was an involuntary Sabbath. When the noise level drops, the space for internal reflection expands. The usual white noise of ambition and anxiety was being overridden by the steady patter. My own thoughts, often fragmented by distraction, began to coalesce. This enforced stillness allowed me to listen to my own quiet monologue, the one that usually gets buried under emails and phone calls. There was no urgent rush, no blazing sun, no high-pressure glare to expose my shortcomings or drive my next frantic action. This gentle sigh, a soft release, was the psychological counterpart to the atmospheric pressure change. The rain didn't solve problems, but it suspended the necessity of solving them immediately. It fostered a fragile peace, a peace born not of resolution, but of simple, complete immersion in the present moment. I watched the water stream down the glass and felt the weary worries fall asleep. They didn't vanish, but they receded, their immediate urgency dulled by the rhythmic constancy. And in this profound hush, something spiritual seemed to descend. It was a calm descends, / a gentle quiet that transcends the mere physical sensation of the storm. It was a brief, unsought moment of grace, a recognition that one is small, and the forces of nature are vast and rhythmic, and that finding one's own small rhythm within that vastness is the only true form of balance. The droplets dripping from the eaves became a natural metronome, marking time not in seconds, but in continuous, regenerative motion. The poem concludes by framing the experience as an aesthetic ideal, a rainy day, a peaceful art, / reflecting solace in the heart. The rain is not just weather, it is a composition, an immersive, transient, and perfectly balanced piece of peaceful art. It is a reminder that the greatest solace is often found in the simplest, most universal of experiences, those that strip away the artificial complexity of modern life. It is the solace of being present, of surrendering to the natural rhythm, and finding a deep, quiet comfort in the cool, clean reality of a world willingly paused under the generous, unrelenting sweep of the storm. Rainy day, the world outside, a muted hum. A steady drumming, softly come. Gray clouds convene, a heavy shroud. Across the weary, weeping crowd. Of leaves that glisten, bowed and low. As silver threads begin to flow. The streetlights blur, a gentle gleam. Reflecting back a watery dream. Each pane of glass, a canvas spread. Where tiny rivers softly thread. The rhythm calls, a quiet plea. To simply be, and watch, and see. The air is fresh, a cool embrace. Washing away all hurried pace. The scent of earth, so deeply roused. From soil beneath where secrets housed. A gentle sigh, a soft release. Bringing a moment's fragile peace. No urgent rush, no blazing sun. Just quiet moments, one by one. A distant car, a fleeting sound. As puddles gather on the ground. The world slows down, a hushed affair. A silent whisper in the air. And in this hush, a calm descends. A gentle quiet that transcends. The mind unwinds, the spirit stills. As water drips from window sills. A perfect moment, soft and deep. While weary worries fall asleep. A rainy day, a peaceful art. Reflecting solace in the heart.